Jake was putting off the call, again. For 6 months, he'd been meaning to reach out to his dad. They'd had a stupid argument about politics at Christmas, and both men were too proud to pick up the phone first. "I'll call him tomorrow," Jake told himself. Same thing he'd said yesterday, and the day before that, and every day for half a year. At 33, Jake had become a master procrastinator. Not just with his dad, with everything that mattered. "I'll start working out tomorrow. I'll call that client back tomorrow. I'll tell Sarah how I feel about her. Tomorrow. I'll visit Mom's grave tomorrow. I'll write that business plan tomorrow." Tomorrow had become Jake's favorite word. It was a permission slip to avoid discomfort today. But on a Tuesday morning in March, Jake's phone rang. Unknown number. "Is this Jake Morrison?" "Yeah. Who's this?" "This is Dr. Patterson from Riverside Hospital. I'm calling about your father, Robert Morrison. He was brought in this morning after a heart attack." The words hit Jake like a physical blow. "Is he? How is he?" "Sir, I'm sorry. He didn't make it. He passed about an hour ago." Jake dropped the phone. His dad was gone, and the last conversation they'd had was an argument 6 months ago. All those tomorrows Jake had been saving up, they didn't exist anymore. At the funeral, Jake's uncle pulled him aside. "Your dad talked about you all the time. It kept saying, Jake will call when he's ready. He's stubborn like me, but he'll come around." Jake felt like he was drowning in regret. That night, alone in his apartment, Jake made a list. Not of goals or dreams, a list of everything he'd been putting off until tomorrow. Call Sarah and tell her how he felt. Start the business he'd been planning for 2 years. Visit his mom's grave. He hadn't been there since the funeral 3 years ago. Get in shape before his body started falling apart. Take that trip to Ireland he'd been talking about since college. Reconnect with old friends he'd lost touch with. The list was 2 pages long. 2 pages of tomorrows that might never come. Jake looked at the list and made a decision that would define the rest of his life. There is no tomorrow. There's only today. He picked up his phone and called Sarah. It was 11:30 p.m. "Jake, is everything okay?" "Sarah, I need to tell you something. I'm in love with you. I have been for months. I kept waiting for the right moment, but there is no right moment. There's only now." Silence. Then, "Jake, I've been waiting for you to say that. I feel the same way. If you've ever put off something important because you thought you had unlimited time, hit that like button, because Jake's story gets more intense." The next morning, Jake drove to his mom's grave. He'd avoided it for 3 years because it was too painful. But pain delayed is still pain, it just gets heavier with time. He sat there for an hour, talking to her headstone like she could hear him, telling her about Dad, about Sarah, about how sorry he was for staying away. Day 3. Jake submitted his business registration paperwork. The consulting company he'd been planning for 2 years became real in 45 minutes. Day 7. Jake booked a flight to Ireland. One way. He'd figure out the return later. Day 14. Jake started working out. Not tomorrow. Today, 1 year later, Jake runs a successful consulting business from Dublin. He and Sarah are engaged. He's in the best shape of his life. He calls people the day he thinks about calling them. But here is what Jake says. Changed everything. "My dad's death didn't teach me that life is short. It taught me that tomorrow is a lie we tell ourselves to avoid living today." Jake learned what every wise person eventually discovers. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. It's not even real. It's just a word we use to avoid the discomfort of acting now. The most dangerous phrase in the English language isn't, "I can't." It's "I'll do it tomorrow," because tomorrow never comes. It's always today when you wake up. Tomorrow is where dreams go to die. Every time you say "I'll do it tomorrow," you're betting that you'll have unlimited tomorrows to spend. But time isn't a renewable resource. It's the one thing you can never get back. Stop living like you have forever. The call you need to make. The risk you need to take. The conversation you need to have. Do it today. Because today is all you're guaranteed to have.